Ladies, and welcome to this edition of Menopause Made Easy with Tanya, where I hope to educate and empower you so that you can thrive after 35 and make this menopausal journey much easier along the way. And what I wish I had known in my 40s, what I know now, what I wish I had known would have really helped me. So I hope that all this, these podcasts week after week are really helping to sink in and become the fabric of how you think, feel, and make decisions. So today I want to talk about how to stop snacking. So hands up, I was a huge snacker. Breakfast snack, lunch snack, dinner snack. I love to snack. And it's one of the habits I have decreased because we aren't meant to be eating all day long. And if you listen to, I think it's episode number 8 and 56 of my podcast, you will see that one of my big goals is to help you to become a fat burner. And I go into those episodes how to become a fat burner because just very simply, if you are constantly feeding your body, it doesn't have to tap into this stored fat on the body. So listen to those episodes. I also have a belly fat series that I did at the beginning of 2024. Or you can come to my midlife reboot and it'll be much faster and pinpoint you, but it's totally your choice what you do. So if you are struggling with snacking or overindulging, which happens a lot, and I'm recording this on January 10th, 2025, January 19th is called Quitter's Day. So right now, everybody's like motivated. They're, going full bore. This will tie into it with their New Year's resolutions. And by January 19th, it's called Quitter's Day. Most of the population will completely stop doing what they're doing or drastically reduce it. I used to see this when I worked live in gyms. And that's because what it loses its shininess. Let's just put it that way. It becomes boring. And so if you listen to the first episode of my podcast, it was called Stop Chasing the Shiny Stars. I highly recommend that. I used to chase a lot of shiny stars, so I understand. I get it. But I am here because if I can change being a sugar addict, an emotional eater, a snacker, because I wanted to improve my health, I know you can do it. All right. So if you're struggling with snacking or overindulging, it's probably not what you think. Okay. So you're probably controlling the food. I'm going to give you some great tips today. So people will say, I lack discipline. I can't control myself. I need more willpower. When I get stressed, I just lose any willpower I have. And that was my answer. And I hear that all the time. Okay, and I understand why that's your answer because when you're constantly being told that you need discipline and willpower to be successful, it's not entirely it's not entirely wrong. It's just incomplete. And I've done episodes on willpower. We have a limited supply of willpower. Okay. It's very strong in the morning, which you probably noticed because, you don't feel like eating Dunkin' Donuts or a bag of chips at 9 o'clock in the morning, but come 3 o'clock in the afternoon, it's a different story, or after dinner. Okay. So when somebody is struggling with snacking or overindulging with their nutrition, they're not getting to the root cause of why it's happening or how to fix it. And so let's take the context out of food and consider this for a moment. Say, okay, what's your favorite song right now? Think of your absolute favorite song. Okay, now I'm going to say to you, don't listen to your song. You can't listen to that song. Okay, you can't listen to it. All right, you're never allowed to listen to this favorite song again, ever. Now, how does that make you feel? Did you just kind of feel yourself clench a little bit? Did you kind of feel like, oh my God, I better go listen to my song now because I'm never going to hear it again? Okay. So we have to think about the frequency of exposure, because you could probably listen. You could probably, if it was just in your home environment, have more control. But say you're at work and the song comes on the radio and you're like, oh my God, okay, we have to turn this song off. I can't listen to this song. I'm not allowed to listen to this song, right? So we're being exposed to this song outside of our home. Okay, maybe you go to the gym, you open up Spotify or Apple Podcasts or whatever, iTunes, and all of a sudden your favorite song pops on. You're like, oh my God, I can't listen to this song. I gotta turn it off. I gotta turn it off. You get home and your kids have your favorite song on because they want you to come in the door. They want to hear your favorite song. And you have to be like, no, 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 no. We cannot play that song in this house anymore. I'm not allowed to listen to it. Think about how much energy that is consuming. Okay, how much energy you just have to be on your toes not to listen to this song. And then eventually you'd be like, forget this. Like, I can't do this anymore. This is tiring. I want to listen to this song. Okay. And so I'm going to now binge listen to my song. Now put food in there, right? That's when somebody says you can't eat sugar again, or you can't eat your favorite cookie again, or you can't eat those chips again. You can do it for a while. You can do it for a while, but then the stress, or you're out for social, or you're just like, I can't deal with this anymore. It's like taking up too much mental energy. And so you say, screw it. And then you have a binge and you eat more than you probably would have in the last couple of weeks. And that is the reason why most people snack and overindulge, right? You're eating the things that you're not, air quotes here, not supposed to eat. And part of it's because you've been walking through your life telling yourself you can't. Because I remember I'm like, oh my God, okay, starting Monday, I cannot eat any more sugar. Like I cannot eat any more sugar. I'm not eating any more cookies. I'm not eating any more of this. I'm not eating any more of that. Maybe I last till Wednesday and then I'm like, screw it. Maybe I lasted 2 weeks and then I was like, screw it. Okay. Or if somebody tells me I can't eat something, I'm like, oh yeah, you want to see this? Okay. Because I'm not being told what I cannot eat. And maybe you can for a little while, but I know because I work with clients and they're like, just tell me what to eat. They don't want to just be told what to eat. They want to be able to eat what they want to eat and lose weight and get healthier. And you can do that. Okay. So either way, if you're telling yourself you can't, or other people are telling you can't, it is mentally taxing, right? And we don't live in a bubble. So we see these things when we go out. They may be in our home. So what are some strategies that you could do? All right. So one of the things that we can do, so just think about this because this happens to me. I am not even thinking about eating chocolate, and I will walk into my pantry and I will see chocolate and I'm like, oh, chocolate. Maybe I should have some chocolate. I should have some chocolate. The chocolate's there. I saw the chocolate, so now I'm going to eat the chocolate. Now, sometimes I don't, but more times than not, it's triggered me to actually start thinking about this chocolate. So what if, okay, we reduce the exposure, the frequency of the exposure? What if we don't see what we want to eat that often? So we can still eat it, but when you see it, it makes you think you want to eat it. And then secondly, remove the rules. What food rules do you have that you're really not abiding by consistently, or you cannot abide by them for the rest of your life? Because what I teach women to do is, what could you do today that you could do next week, next month, next year, in 10 years from now? What could you do? So I sometimes snack, but it's not how I used to snack. I sometimes eat after dinner, but it doesn't have the same pull on me that it used to. I drink far less, but it's not because I can't drink. It's just that I don't feel like drinking, right? So I've taken off these rules of just it actually made me do things I didn't want to do because of these rules. So just have a listen or a look or be observant of yourself to see if that's kind of what's happening to you. Okay. So, for example, like with my chocolate example, if I was, or think of like a bag of chips, or maybe it's alcohol or a loaf of bread or whatever it is that just kind of, you see it and it's like, ooh. So if I were to take the chocolate that I have and I leave it on my counter, I would see it more. The frequency of exposure would be more. I would see the chocolate. I would think about the chocolate. This happens. I just made a loaf of bread. I'm taping this in January. I made a loaf of bread and I ate the bread because I saw the bread. I saw it every single day. Now, if I take that bread and I put it in the freezer and I put it underneath, my meatballs, for example, I don't see the bread. And so I kind of just like forget about the bread and I don't eat the bread as often. So notice how often you are being triggered for seeing something. Now, I worked with a client and this was really challenging for her because her husband kept leaving things out. So again, this is when, you do have to, work with your husband, work with your environment. It's so important how environment is. If something is really triggering to you, then can you have a conversation saying, look, I just need to put this in the pantry or in a cupboard that I'm not opening 18 times a day, right? And so there's different strategies that you can use, but ideally you just want to look at reducing the frequency of the item that is really triggering you. Because if somebody left cheesies on my counter, no trigger. I don't care if there were 100 bags of pretzels, cheesies, Doritos. I wouldn't touch them. There's no pull for me. Again, I've talked about this in a lot of different episodes, but you leave out chocolate, you leave out home-baked cookies, you leave out fresh bread, it definitely has more of a pull on me. And so it's not that I can't eat it, it's just I can eat it whenever I want, but if I see it, it triggers me. So I put my chocolate in the back part of the pantry that I don't really see. I put it in a drawer that I don't really see. But I'll tell you, sometimes when I open that drawer, I'm like, ooh, chocolate. Ooh, maybe I'll have a piece of chocolate. And most of the times I do. So think about that. Okay. We spend, which I have talked about, 95% of our day run on subconscious patterning. We are operating from complete mental, like mindlessness most of the day. Okay. We are robotic in our actions. And that's why it's January when I'm recording this. We're doing Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself by Dr. Joe Dispenza in my book club. So we're doing book club in my midlife reboot, and we are doing the work. And the breaking of the habit of being yourself is because, again, we are living from unconscious patterning that we cannot think our way out of. So this is what we are working on to reprogram ourselves. And it's been so exciting. Anyway, if you do want to join my book clubs, by all means, email me because we will be doing them a different book throughout the year. And we're not in a rush to finish. There's no timeline because we actually want to do the work. So many of us, we're like, yeah, I know what to do, but we don't do the work. Okay. So if you want to make changes, like with your snacking, with your nighttime eating, then you have to look at what you're currently doing, what's triggering you, right? And so today I'm just talking about frequency and rules, but there's other tools. How can you use these tools to help you stop the frequency of your snacking? All right. When you tell yourself you cannot do something or you shouldn't do something, all right, what happens is this is how your brain works. Okay. The plan that deprives you and restricts you is the plan that will lead you to binge. It will lead you to binge eating, snacking, overindulging. It's so well documented in research. Okay. That is how your brain works. You cannot override this brain. You cannot. You think you can, but you cannot. So again, I've done episodes on willpower. I've talked a lot about how our prefrontal cortex works to our amygdala works, okay? And when you understand these things, then you realize like you can't out muscle, you can't out willpower this. You have to come up with different strategies. All right. So one of the greatest predictors of weight gain and struggling with weight maintenance is viewing food on and off limits. Okay. So again, play. See if this pertains to you. And I'll hear this, I can't eat this, I can't eat this. And then a month later, I see people eating it, right? Again, it doesn't work long term. It's not a good strategy. There are so many other tools. So one of my tools is I can eat anything I want whenever I want. I've removed all rules. And so when I see something, I go, well, I can eat that. I don't want to eat it now, but I can eat it tomorrow. I can eat it later. I don't be like, oh my God, when I was in this frame of mind of I can't eat this, I was like, okay, how many cookies can I eat? How many bars of chocolate? How much food can I eat before Monday so that I can get it all in? So again, does this resonate with you? Does it not? Okay. So if you get joy from eating certain foods, then spending your days trying to avoid these foods is going to lead to sabotage, which I'll put my hand up. For years, I sabotaged myself. Okay. It's just like listening to your favorite song. If you can't listen to it, you're going to try and listen to it all you can before you can't listen to it. It doesn't work. So if you love chocolate, have some chocolate. I had chocolate every single day. Now I have it every 3 days. Like it doesn't have the same pull on me, right? It wasn't that I can't ever have it again. It's just that I can have it whenever I want. So have it when you want it, right? And what you will find is you will eat it less and less and less because you can have it, right? So maybe it's cheesies or pretzels or Doritos or the other things or loaves of bread. Like enjoy it when you really want it. So again, I've talked about this in other episodes, and I did a great episode. It's one of the first ones I did with about neuroscience with Michael. And it's like if you really want something on a scale of 8, 9, 10, then have it, right? Don't resist because you will binge. And again, just watch your behaviors. That's all I'm saying. Maybe it's ice cream. Make it a weekly occurrence. Have it when you feel like having it and just see what happens. Maybe at the beginning you will have it more often, but then again, you won't have it. Now, if you've picked up my 5 hacks to cut your cravings guide, okay, all of these things that I'm recommending, if you actually have them at the end of a meal, you're going to help reduce your blood sugar spikes. You're going to help reduce your cravings. So again, this is something else that I've done over the years is if I want the chocolate, if I want the cookies, if I want the ice cream, I have it in at the end of that meal because I have the fiber and the protein and the fat, so I'm not going to get the blood sugar spike. So if you haven't picked up that guide, go to vibrantlivingwithtanya.com, and at the top you'll see a freebie. Click on 5 hacks to cut your cravings, and it's probably in the show notes as well. But that is so helpful. Again, those are helpful tools. Telling yourself you can't ever eat anything again, not helpful. All right. So back to back to my train of thought here. When I binged eat, again, I've done episodes on this, or when you have binge eats or overindulge, then what happens? Okay. You feel guilty. And then when you feel guilty, then you may end up eating more, right? And you're like, I shouldn't have eaten that. But no, just eat it. Eat it. Take the emotion out of that. Okay. So the other thing is that when you do eat it and then you think I can't eat this again, then you're like, well, I better eat more of it right now because then I'm not going to be eating it again. And again, I used to do all of these things that I'm talking about. Okay. I got to enjoy all of these cookies now. I got to enjoy them. I might as well eat them because I'm not going to eat them again. That's a lie. It's a lie. It's not going to happen unless you're one of the very few people that never touch sugar or white flour or anything bad. Hats off to you. It's not me. Okay. It's not me. I actually take some pleasure in food, but what I have found by applying these techniques that I teach in my midlife reboot, by having accountability, by doing the work, I want this stuff less and less. But I can have it. It's not that I can't have it. It's just I've changed. I've noticed that I've changed. Okay. But again, like if I can have the cookie or the chocolate the next day or the next week or the next month, it loses its power over us. It loses the strangle over us. So play and practice with this. Okay. If it's no longer forbidden and it's just something you have on occasion, it works. But you have to practice it. And again, it may not be overnight. It may take a while. You've got to put patience and time into this. You've got to put practice and play. Okay. So when I work with my clients, I really talk about how can we incorporate the foods that we love, right? There are certain foods that you just love that you don't want to live without, and you shouldn't have to live without. But I tell you, if you look back in a year or two, or even months, you will have such changes. It'll be so amazing. All right. So notice if you want this food every day. So I love chocolate. I pretty much eat it every day. Okay. Or do you want a food a couple of times a week? You don't have to say exactly when you eat it, but you know your schedule, you know your vibe, right? Like, how does it align with your schedule? Is it a family tradition? You go out for, a Thanksgiving dinner or Easter or something like this, and you always have pumpkin pie, and then you're like, I can't ever have pumpkin pie. Have the pumpkin pie, okay? Have the pumpkin pie, enjoy the pumpkin pie, and then move on. All right. So I want you to embrace the foods that are triggering you. Make friends with them. Stop pushing them away. Okay. Be present with them and notice your habits. I've gone over this a lot of time when we've been talking about this. Notice who you are, how you function. When I am somewhere, like if I go to a restaurant and something's on a menu that I really want to eat, most times I will eat it because I may never get it again. So, but that's like a one-off, right? So there's one-offs and then there's your daily habits. So again, I'm starting to get a little broad here. But when you're eating, be present and enjoy it. Be present, like enjoy it. Be mindful. I feel like my head's being cut off a little bit. There, let's do that. Better. Okay. And we want to remove these restrictions and these limitations because remember that what you do today, can you do next week? Can you do next month? Can you do next decade? This is the lifestyle habits that you want. And when you start to apply these, and I can absolutely see this for myself, the freedom that comes, oh, is so rewarding. You know, the struggle I spent for decades. I wrote the book, Cookie Dough in the Dark. The shame, the guilt, the negativity, the beating up of myself, the berating, the negative. When I let that all go, like it's got to be almost 20 years ago now, and I gradually can just start to see so much more freedom and so much more, oh my gosh, just food freedom is huge, but it didn't happen overnight. Okay. So just know that it will happen if you keep practicing. All right. And you will find that the food, when you taste it, it'll be more enjoyable. You'll naturally start less snack, like you'll snack less and less and less, because snacking sometimes is when we're looking to have those forbidden things, air quotes again. And just finally, the goal is not perfection. I've mentioned this so many times. It's progress. I can absolutely 100% tell you that I have made so much progress. Am I perfect? No. Am I better? Yes. Can you get better? Yes. Will you be perfect? No. Okay. It's simple, gradual improvements over time. It's not about more discipline. It's not about more willpower. Okay. It is natural. and you will probably start to fuel yourself with better foods, like higher quality foods, because they actually start to make you feel better. So it reduces, like when you change one thing, it's amazing how many things start to change. Okay. So go after the easy thing. Go after the easy thing. So the easy thing right now is I'm going to leave you with this. Reduce the frequency of exposure. Okay. So what does that look like? I can help you with that privately or in my midlife reboot program. All right. And again, notice how stress plays into this. If you are indulging because you end up being stressed, then we need to work on the stress. I've talked about this in a few episodes ago where, I was talking with somebody I know, and they said, I'm never eating sugar again and I'm never drinking. And I said, God, this is not going to work. Not going to work. Here is something that you could do that would be more helpful. Okay. Didn't listen to me. Okay. Most people just think, again, you're bombarded with messages, willpower, deprivation, restriction, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So 6 months goes by, weight has been lost, everything's great. And then boom, a social event happens. And like I talk about, the beach ball is underneath the water. You're holding it down a week, 2 weeks, maybe 6 months, maybe a year. Oh, I got to keep this down. I got to resist every time I go to a social occasion. I have to resist. I have to resist listening to my favorite song. I have to resist eating this food. Boom! The ball flies out of the water. A social occasion happens. Drinking, eating, weight skyrockets. So then, I see this person all, poop, 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 poop. And I said, why are you eating? Why have you gone back? And their answer was stress. I don't know how to deal with stress. Okay. So if you are stress eating, again, this is not restriction and deprivation. It's like, how do I deal with the stress that's causing me to eat? Because you indulge as a stress, like a response to your stress. Okay. So anyway, that is, as I've said so many times, it's not going to work. We're looking for sustainable action. We're looking for sustainable, creating awareness, knowing that you are going to do certain behaviors. How can we make them fit into your lifestyle and align with your values? Right. And so when you understand why, when you start to understand your values, when you start to deal with your stress, you gradually move away from food as the outlet or the coping mechanism. Okay. And other techniques, the tools I talk about in my midlife reboot program and that I talk about in here, mindfulness, breathing, you start to practice those and you start to move away from this all or nothing, this binge eating, this indulgence, this, oh my gosh, restriction, willpower. And you start to move into understanding your habits, your thoughts, your actions, what triggers you, how you respond to stress. And then you, as I've said, are the CEO of your health, and you get to decide over time what looks sustainable for you. Okay? What looks sustainable for you? Getting rid of that negative loop, the shame spiral that we go under. Okay, so I'm going to leave it with you on that note, but there were so many nuggets in here today on how to stop snacking. It's not willpower, it's not deprivation, it's not restriction. Okay, those are so 1980s. They do not work long term. Stop. I need to do an email on how the marketing manipulates your brain to think, oh my gosh, even my girlfriend who's highly educated sent me something at the end of December as companies were trying to get people to buy their diet products. And she was like, should I do this? And I'm like, no. What is 3 to 5 days of eating a shake going to do for you long term? Nothing. They're trying to sell their products so that you buy them. And I looked at what they were getting you to eat. You are drastically cutting calories. And anyway, when I spoke with her, she's like, Tanya, I see it. I get it. I get it. Okay. But they really know how to pull on your emotional strings. They really do. Okay. That's their job, is to get you to buy into these short term. Now, my programs, my philosophy does not affect your brain the same way. So I am looking for people who actually want to do the work. You want to make lifestyle changes. You want to be able to look at yourself 6 months, 18 months, 3 years from now and be like, wow, wow, I don't have that pull with food anymore. I've completely stopped snacking. When stress hits me, I don't automatically want to shove a bag of chips in my face or drink a bottle of alcohol, right? So much less pull on your brain, my message to you, but I'm going into your heart. I'm going into your heart because I care about your health. I care about your longevity. I want you to be healthy long time, healthy long time. That's what I want for you. But if you don't want that for you, that's okay. That's okay. I will attract the people that actually want to do the work on breaking the habit of being themselves, that actually want to thrive after 35, that understand that you have to put your big girl pants on because your body's changing, your hormones are changing, and we have consequences to our actions, and you get to choose those consequences just by your actions. All right. So I'm about sustainability. I'm about giving you tools that help you drop fat and inches if that's what you're looking for. But even more importantly than that, oh, I might sneeze, that elevates your health. Ooh, that elevates your health so that you, excuse me, excuse me, avoid chronic disease. You know, it's really funny. I've been listening to Mel Robbins' podcast lately, and I love her bloopers at the end. And my whole thing is a blooper because I don't have time to edit. I mumble over my words. I just sneezed. Sometimes my voice cracks. Sometimes I lose my train of thought. And, you know, part of me wishes that people would just be real while they're doing it. But anyway, I'm real. I'm giving you the goods, but her podcast is good. And I do like the bloopers at the end. Anyway, I hope that's giving you some insightful information, some action steps that you can follow. And again, please share this with any woman who is overweight or over fat, under muscled, wants to improve their health, wants to stop snacking, wants to stop nighttime eating, and they're so frustrated they don't know what to do, and going to another diet or quick fix is not going to work for them. But the messages in here will definitely help, along with my other podcast episodes. All right, beautiful ladies, if you could rate and review my podcast, I would love that. Please share this, because you sharing this helps other people find me. I am not that great at promoting myself, so I would appreciate you sharing this with your friends and family, because I know it will help them. So have a beautiful day, everybody. Healthy hugs, and I will see you in the next episode.